Salam everyone and welcome to the Sunnah Diet. My name is Suha and I'm a registered dietitian. Today we are going to discuss how we can stock our pantry with shelf-stable foods. This can be critical during times of emergency like natural disasters, local blackouts, or global pandemics. But it doesn't necessarily have to be only during serious occasions. Sometimes we just don't have the time to head to the grocery store. Here, I've displayed a bunch of different foods that can help sustain your health and wallet. Let's start with breakfast. When buying cereal, you're looking for high fiber foods, high protein, and whole grains. With one serving, or in this case, 1 cup with cereal, you're getting 5 grams of fiber and 4 grams of protein, which is going to help keep you satisfied for longer than those sugary cereals. When we're looking at proteins, typically I get a plant-based protein powder because whey-based protein powders can be sourced from beef or pork. So we want to be mindful of what we're choosing. This one is also gluten-free, vegan, and soy-free for anyone with dietary preferences, allergies, or sensitivities. It's kind of my catch-all protein powder. This one in particular, in 1 scoop, has all these nutrients in them. And you'll see, again, we're looking at fiber content, which is 6 grams. It's pretty amazing. And the protein per scoop is 20 grams, which is what we're aiming for in a protein powder. This can easily be a meal replacement. Add in some peanut butter and shelf-stable milk, which unfortunately we couldn't find, to make a grab-and-go or food-friendly breakfast smoothie. Speaking of peanut butter, we've obviously already started on this one, so the packaging isn't as pretty as if it was a new one. But we're focusing on what's on the inside, right? When looking at peanut butter, the only ingredient that we want is peanuts. This is going to be the most natural form of peanut butter with no added sugar, no salts or oils. If we continue reading the label, you'll see that the peanut butter also has 0 sodium, 7 grams of total carbohydrates, and no added sugar. The sugar is naturally occurring from the nut itself, and the protein is going to be 8 grams per serving, making it a great source of energy. Now on to our old-fashioned oats. A great thing about oats is that it's pretty versatile and can be used for many recipes, from oatmeal to no-bake energy bites and even cookies. Here you'll see on the nutrition label, 1 serving is about a half a cup before cooking. It has 0 cholesterol, so this is going to be a heart-healthy food, and it gives you tons of energy with fiber, and so that means it's going to make you stay full for a longer time and stabilize those blood sugar levels. It's another good source of a plant-based protein and good for your satiety. Now let's move on to meal companions. These foods are used to help enhance flavors and make complete meals. I'm going to start with tahini. Tahini is a sesame paste used for foods like hummus, ful, and baba ganoush. You can also use it as a base for stews and even salad dressing. Looking at the label, you'll see tons of protein, no sugar, and good source of fiber and healthy fats. Going on to salsa, we see that there's only 10 calories for every 2 tablespoons, 0 cholesterol, and only 6% of your daily value of sodium. And that's the thing that we're most concerned with in salsas. This one in particular is a bit lower than other store brands. The American Heart Association suggests 2,400 milligrams or less per day of sodium. So you're getting well under that, as well as a ton of flavor with some veggies and yummy ingredients. Use this as a base for stews. Next up, pasta sauce, a staple in most American pantries. Whenever you can, choose jarred over canned items. I prefer jarred sauce over the canned because you can limit the BPA or the bisphenol A concerns from the canned items when creating pantry-friendly meals. What you'll see here is that there are sugars, however, they're naturally occurring sugars based on the tomatoes themselves and not added to the food. Next item, and one of many people's favorites, is extra virgin olive oil. It's a great source of monounsaturated heart-healthy fat that also reduces inflammation. It does have a moderate smoke point, which is the rate of degradation of the nutrient in the oil. So use it for low to medium cooking. Better yet, use it as a dressing for salads or top veggies, boiled eggs, or dips with it. Rather, use canola oil for cooking since it has a higher smoke point. Canola oil is a very high in polyunsaturated fats, which are the better fats for our hearts and systems. When choosing cooking fats, preference should go to polyunsaturated fats like canola oil, then monounsaturated fat like extra virgin olive oil, then saturated fats like butter, ghee, and coconut oil. That should be used sparingly, and never use trans fat. So I did buy chicken broth. I prefer bone broth. They just didn't have it at the store because it has a lot more protein and flavor. Chicken broth can be used to add some flavor to your dishes and cook your grains or rice. Be mindful if you're using broth, it has a high sodium content, so do not combine it with other high sodium foods or aim for a lower sodium broth. I like to make my own broth, but if I'm limited, this could be useful. Soups are also a nice way of incorporating some vegetables into your diet. This one in particular is a non-dairy creamy soup. Some soups use a dairy base, so this label allows some mindfulness for people with sensitivities and allergies. Another way we can get some vegetables when perishables are limited is a jarred eggplant. This is one of my favorites. You can plan to add them to existing dishes. I will likely use this for baba ganoush. Now I'd like to discuss some canned veggie and protein options. Firstly, try to choose cans with a BPA-free label. This can limit the amount of bisphenol A leaching into your food and dysregulating hormone levels. Even better, when possible, buy dry beans. They are just beans. No added anything to them. Unfortunately, due to a lot of panic buying, I couldn't get everything I typically buy. But that doesn't mean we can't sustain ourselves with canned goods. Black beans, for starters, are great for meals, as well as other kinds of beans. Pink beans, white beans, kidney beans, garbanzo beans are great sources of protein and carbohydrate. What you'll see here is that half a cup of beans is a serving, and there's about 3.5 servings in this container. A half a cup, so maybe about this much. So 1, 2, 3.5 servings. It has very little fat, 0 cholesterol. There is some sodium, but I would advise that if you're using anything canned, go ahead and dump it into a strainer and rinse out the extra liquid and sodium. Beans are a good source of carbohydrates, specifically fiber. So whenever we have fiber that's over 5 grams, we can subtract it from our total carbohydrate count. So this one has 22 grams per serving minus the 6 grams of fiber, and that's going to yield us 16 grams of net carbohydrates. So this is a good source of energy. No added sugar to this, and you see right here tons of protein. So a great source of your overall energy intake. Now I know there are some people who only eat the beha meat. However, if you're flexible, this might be an option on those busy days. You can eat this turkey chili on its own or with the grain. There's 2 servings in it. 1 cup is a serving. It has fat, but it also has a great source of other nutrients. You'll see that the primary item is dark turkey meat. Whenever we're looking at ingredients, the first ingredient is the most prevalent. So water and then dark turkey meat, beans, dehydrated onions, and so on. It has a lot of nice whole foods you can see. No sugar, no filler. The sugar is most likely naturally occurring from the tomatoes, the peppers, and the beans themselves in the chili. Now let's take a peek at the protein. Ya jama'a, it has 19 grams of protein for 1 cup. So that's 19 plus 19, 38 grams of protein. So you have tons of protein to help keep you full and keep that muscle intact. There are some other meat options that are shelf-stable. We have canned chicken and tuna, which are both great options. Looking at the tuna fish pouch, it has 0 carbs. Most meats will have 0 carbs as long as they are not seasoned or breaded. You saw that the beans have carbohydrates, so that's going to be easy energy to metabolize. This easy to eat and prepare meat option will allow for muscle growth and repair with no blood glucose spikes. So you were paying attention. Yes, this is a different clip. Unfortunately, the original footage got corrupted, but I did want to share a little bit about juice. 100% juice is going to be your best bet. This is a good way to get fruit into your pantry. Since the liquid is 100% juice, it's from the respective fruit. It does not have added sugar. It has sugar that is naturally from the fruit. So we're not having anything added. We just want to make sure that we're sticking to no more than 8 ounces daily. Now honey, let's talk honey. Not only is this a natural sweetener to add to hot drinks, breads, and dressings, it has beneficial properties like alleviating seasonal allergies, especially if it's local honey. And according to Surah An-Nahl, There emerges from their bellies a drink, varying in colors, and which there is a healing for people. Science has already proved that honey is an antibacterial, so a must for our pantry. Snack time! Mixed nuts are a great option and source of both protein and brain and heart healthy fats. You can see here there's about 6 grams of protein. This one unfortunately does have sea salts. We couldn't find one that didn't have salt in it, but preference should go to the ones that have no salt added and are dry roasted nuts. Additionally, because we are getting close to Ramadan, pairing nuts with dates offers a more fulfilling snack or mini meal. It's a great source of fiber, carbohydrates, it's sodium free and preservative free, and it's just dates. Protein bars are good to have on hand and eat once in a while when needing to head out the door. This one has 21 grams of protein, is almost 200 calories. I would consider this small meal replacement bar because it has the 22 grams of carbs and 21 grams of protein. I want to point out that there are 2 grams of added sugar and erythritol, which is a sugar alcohol. Just a heads up, if you eat too many sugar alcohols or sugar-free products that contain sugar alcohols, it can cause gastric intestinal upset. So this is a food item to eat sparingly. I'd probably eat half. So let's look at some grains. Brown rice, red lentils, pearled barley, lentils, whole grain pasta, and then on this side you'll see we have whole wheat flour tortillas, some lavash bread or pita bread, whole wheat sandwich bread, and these are grains and a great source of energy. They're plant-based protein and fiber. Brown rice is rice in its natural form. White rice is processed where the husk of the rice is stripped off. Then the rice is bleached and enriched with the micronutrients that were removed when the husk was removed. So brown rice is actually a more nutrient superior product. It does taste a little different than white rice, however, with time you can get used to the flavor. A serving is about 1/4 of a cup dry, so it's about this much. And we're looking at protein. This is a really good source of protein, carbs, fiber. Again, we're looking at that nice blood stabilizing energy, 0 cholesterol, very little fat, very little sodium, no sugar added. Overall, a great product. The only ingredient is split red peas. This is great for soups. You can add it in stews, grain bowls, and salads. It has tons of fiber and tons of protein. Pearled barley, same thing. You can use this and quinoa, which I couldn't find, as a rice substitute. We'll see here, same as rice, 27 grams of carbs, 2 grams of fiber, 4 grams of protein for 1/4 of a cup serving. And lentils, you could use these in soups or grain bowls or meals in and of themselves. You can pair them with rice or make them a more substantial meal. 8 grams of protein, guys. This is the only thing that's in here. It's just lentils. So here I have a whole grain source of pasta because pasta is a fan favorite and a pantry must. It's comfort food. So a serving is about 2 ounces, which is about yay size, or 17 sticks. And seriously, guys, I don't want you counting 17 sticks. It has 0 cholesterol, 0 sodium. It does have 39 grams of carbs per serving, so it's a great source of energy on your more active days. And because it's a carb-dense food, we can also look into the fiber. 7 grams of fiber. You can again do the math for the net carbs. So 39 minus 7, you get 32 net carbs. And of course protein, which is about 8 grams. Another great grain option. The only thing that's in here is whole grain durum wheat flour. A great thing about grains is that it has tons of fiber, tons of protein, only 1 ingredient, and super duper cheap. Everything here was less than $1. Here's a different grain option. Tortillas can be used as wraps or soft tacos. With tortillas, you'll see more of the same goodness. In 1 tortilla, it has 0 cholesterol, 20 grams of carbohydrates, 3 grams of fiber, and 4 grams of protein. The same thing with the lavash bread or pita bread. This one in particular has ingredients like flax, oat bran, and whole wheat, all heart-healthy ingredients with only 6 grams of protein and 8 grams of carbohydrates. This makes it a really low carb option for those people who are looking to watch their blood sugar. Now for sandwich bread. With bread, the more grains and seeds, the better. This loaf is considered a whole wheat bread. It's not a whole grain bread. It has 22 slices. Each slice is considered a serving. So one slice will contain about 11 grams of carbohydrates and 4 grams of protein. So this is a pretty hearty bread for your sandwiches. So that essentially wraps up our food tour. There were a couple of ingredients that we wanted to purchase and we weren't able to. What I think that you guys have noticed is a common theme throughout the food tour. Choosing these foods will offer higher fiber, higher protein, which is going to help you keep full for longer, stabilize those blood sugar levels, regulate digestion, and provide a variety of nutrients. Also, we're choosing foods that have the least amount of ingredients. A lot of these food options have only one ingredient, meaning minimal processing and a more wholesome product. My nutrition motto is, the closer to nature it is, the better it is for you. Like what you saw? You know what to do. Not for you? Hope you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Salam.